Hello everyone, this is Lamin Sane of LSWAT apps, and in this tutorial video we're going to be having a look at something called Gulp.js. And if you are a big fan of tools like gruntjs, which is a task runner, you may be hearing some buzz about this new tool called Gulp.js, and it's meant to do pretty much the same thing as gruntjs but in an easier way. Okay, so as I said, if you're a big fan of gruntjs, go ahead and give this a try. You might find that you like it actually, and you may do the switch. So in this tutorial video, I'd like to make that introduction easier so you can see what can be done with Gulp.js. Okay, so let's go in our text editor and actually go ahead and install this Gulp.js tool. So first of all, Gulp.js is installed using Node, and if you don't have Node.js, let's go ahead to their website and actually install it. Few clicks and it's very easy to install. So first what we're going to do is create a package.json. Okay, now that we have that inside the package.json, as you may have realized, every node installation, and if you need to install packages, you need to have this package.json file, and inside it let's have a section called dev dependencies. And then we'll just leave it as an empty area, and then let's go to our command line actually and go ahead and install Gulp.js right now. So Gulp, if you want to install it, you have to type npm install, and recommended is to install it globally, so it's accessible anywhere in your Windows installation. So just type npm install Gulp globally. So that goes ahead to the npm repository and pulls down the Gulp.js library. So now that that's done, next step we're going to do is actually install Gulp.js inside our folder here. So how we do that is we say npm install -- save dev, and this save dev parameter here is saying add the installation also to our package.json. So you can install Gulp locally without adding it to your package.json, but if you plan to share this folder with someone, you don't need to give them the whole installation. You just give them the package.json and they can go ahead and easily install the packages exactly as you've had them in your project. So save dev, and we'll install two libraries. One is Gulp and other one is GulpUtil, which is required for any Gulp project. So we'll go ahead and install those. Okay, so we've installed Gulp in our folder here. So next, let's create another file called a Gulp file. This is also another required file. So inside of the Gulp file, the first thing we have to do is import any libraries that we want to use. So since we've installed Gulp and GulpUtil, we're going to say var Gulp equals to require, and at the top here just pull in Gulp library, and secondly let's pull in the GulpUtil equal to require. Okay, so we've pulled in Gulp and GulpUtil. So first thing we need to do to create a task is just say gulp.task, and just let's name the task. Let's call it default. And second parameter we have to pass to the task function is an anonymous function, or just any function you define anywhere in your program. Okay, so inside of here is where you write stuff that you want Gulp to do. So right now let's just test this out without actually writing anything and see what happens. So let's just type Gulp. So by default, Gulp, if you don't pass anything to Gulp, it tries to find your default parameter, your default task, and actually runs that. So when we just type Gulp, it just goes no Gulp file found. Okay, we have a error here. So I made a mistake here. This should have been called Gulp file instead of Gulp files. So let's try that once again. Just type Gulp. Okay, so it tried to run this task and it actually succeeded, but nothing happened because we don't have anything inside here. So let's go ahead and actually create another task called scripts. So gulp.task, and we'll call it scripts. Okay, and let's give it a function here which will be executed when we call this task. Okay, so inside of here we're going to be doing some script like stuff that you will do in your project. So since we don't have any libraries that help us to do any such stuff like minification and concatenation, let's actually go ahead and install those libraries. So let's go back in our command line and say npm install. Don't forget that save dev if you want to add it to your package.json. So we'll first of all install the concatenation library. So we'll say gulp concat and we'll press enter. So that goes to the npm repository and pulls that down. So now if we look at our package.json, we should see gulp concat added there as well. Okay, so let's go back in our gulp file, and inside here, to use that concatenation library, all we need to do is say gulp.source. So basically we're saying which source file do we want to use. We'll create those soon enough. Let's just list them here. So we say in the JS folder, in the libs folder, any JavaScript file in that which is indicated by the asterisk.js. What do we want to do with any of those files? We want to pipe them. And in Gulp, if you have any input, right now we have all these source files here. We can pass them to another function by just using the pipe function, which is provided by Gulp. So we say we're piping this input into here and do something with it. So with the concat library imported, we have availability of this concat function here. So we can just say concat, and inside of this concat function, we have to pass it a parameter, which is a string. So what that string is indicates the name of your output. So in this case, we're going to say main.min.js. That will be the final name of the concatenated files. And then next we have to set an output. So how we do that is we just pass the concatenated files to another pipe, and then we say gulp.dest. So that's just to indicate the destination of the concatenated files. So the destination is js/min. Okay, so we are going to take these files. Let's just recap. Take all JS files inside the lib folder, pipe them here to the concat function, which concatenates all the files up here, and then the destination for this concatenated file is js/min. So let's go ahead and actually create that folder with JS, and we'll create another folder called lib, and inside there let's create two files with just simple JavaScript. Let's say file.js. It doesn't matter because we're just using a wildcard saying select all the files in there, so we'll just say file2.js. So what's going to be in file 1? Let's just say console.log, something simple. Let's say hello, and in the second file we're going to say console log world. Okay, so let's also create another folder which will be the min folder, where the output will go to. So we have a min here. So if we've concatenated all the files in the JS folder, they will be concatenated and put inside the min folder. So let's go in our grunt task runner and actually run this. So back in the command line, if we just run gulp scripts, notice that we're passing a second parameter this time because we want to run this scripts task here instead of the default. So let's run that and see what happens. Gulp. So we have an error. It says has no method source. Okay, apparently I didn't remember to include the concat function. So let's go ahead and import that. So we'll say var concat equal to require. And what do we want to require? We want to require the concat library. So we'll say gulp-concat. Just remember guys, don't be forgetting to do that like I did. Okay, so we'll run the scripts now. And we have another error. Apparently I just misspelled this again. Okay, so let's try that once more. So once more, yeah, fingers crossed. So that works guys, and let's go ahead and actually look in our min folder here. So as you can see, it did go ahead and concatenate those two files, console.log and the second one as well. Okay, so that works. So now let's try to minify this file actually. So instead of just concatenating these two, we'll take the output and minify it and store it here. So what that should do is give us something along the lines of this. Okay, so let's go ahead. So first thing we have to do is actually install the Minification library. So as usual, we'll just say npm install -- save dev gulp uglify. The library is called uglify instead of minify. So let's install that. Press enter, and boom, that's done. Okay, so once more, let's not forget this time to import that in our project gulp file here. So we'll say var uglify equals to require, and what do we call it? Gulp uglify. Okay, so that's done. So just one thing, if this is where the sweetness of gulp comes in. All we need to do is just pipe in before we output the output of the concatenation here. We just have to add one more pipe function here and just say pipe that output into the uglify function. So we just say uglify, and that's it, guys. That's all we have to do. Now if we run this, we should see a minified version of that concatenated file. Okay, we'll say gulp scripts, and that runs. So let's open this here, and as you can see, all those files have been added together and they've been made smaller. So let's just to make sure that this works, even if you add more stuff to your project, we'll just say file3.js. Let's say console.log. Let's say inside of third file. Okay, save this, go back to our command line, just say gulp scripts, and there you go. If we look inside of main.min.js, everything is being concatenated and minified. And as usual, there's a lot you can do with this, and gulp is very powerful. This is just the beginning. I actually haven't tapped that much deep into it, and I actually urge you to go ahead to their website. They have a really good documentation on the getting started guide here that just shows you how to install it. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in the comments below, or actually go to my website and post a comment in the forums there. Either way, I'll help you out. And just one more thing I want to show you is, if you have been wondering where to get all those gulp libraries, you can just go on their website, Gulp.js. There's a link here called plugins. Click on that, and that takes a while, but then it loads in, and you can see all the list of files or libraries that Gulp provides for you out of the box. Well, not out of the box, you have to install them, of course, but you can search them here. Like if you want to try something like the hint, of course it's up here, but if you just start typing JS hint, it will narrow the search down for you just to the ones that you are looking for. Okay, so that's it, guys. If there's anything that I did not cover about Gulp, or something that you've been using with Grunt but you want to see it covered here, please just write it down in the comments below, and I will just do a bit of research and actually do another video covering that. So there's a lot of stuff like watching file changes and stuff like dependencies between tasks. So if you want one task to run after another one, you can do that as well in Gulp very easily. So, but just to keep this video short, I just wanted to show those two things, which is concatenation and minification, or uglification, whichever you want to call it. Alright guys, that's it for this tutorial video, and thanks for watching, and please like and comment if you like this video, and that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.